I'm going to start out with the website. Do I have access to sharing capabilities here?
Yep, you sure do. So you can just share your screen on the bottom.
Okay, can everybody see what I'm looking at here?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Again, my name is Sarana Riggs. I'm from the Navajo Nation. Grew up in Tuba City part-time, and grew up the other time in Big Mountain, which is by north of the Hopi Mesas. Also grew up elsewhere, moving with my my family all over to Arizona for whatever jobs they had. And so I've been with the trust for about 6 years now, and currently I am transitioning out of the trust and doing some independent consulting work. So I'm a little excited, and yeah, I'm pretty sure in the future I'll still continue to do presentations on either work from the ICCG or anything else that I may be pursuing surrounding the Grand Canyon or the Colorado Plateau or anything on the Navajo Nation. So yeah, okay, let's get started. So one of the projects that we've worked on recently is the Lifeways of the Little Colorado River. This project stems from Voices in the Grand Canyon, which I'm pretty sure some of you had seen. If not, it is on the Grand Canyon Trust website. Voices of the Grand Canyon stems from the Intertribal Centennial Conversation Group that Jack was talking about. And within that group, they wanted to highlight and give their own perspective and confirm their identity surrounding the Grand Canyon. And in those stories, there's different tribal members that had spoke about their connection to the canyon and what it means to them, and looking at it from the historical point of view and the present day view of their voice, and looking to the future of what the canyon means to them. And so looking at the lifeways of the Little Colorado River, we see the same thing. We are all aware of the Little Colorado River. We see, whatever times of the year that we're there, either it's red or it's this turquoise blue color. And we know there's a connection. We know that it's a sacred site because we've talked about Escalade before. And now we're looking at threats to the Little Colorado River in terms of dams. And there's just so much. And then in the past, there was uranium mining. And so who is all connected to the Little Colorado River? Zuni, Octavius from Zuni has said for him, it's like the umbilical cord for the Pueblo tribes in New Mexico to the Grand Canyon. And so looking at it in that aspect, you look at who has historically been on the LCR, and you see remnants of that all along the river banks. You see remnants over homes, past homes at Wapaki, and just going all the way to Mexico. And so in this collection here, we thought about who can portray and give that historical account of the LCR, and who's able to speak to that, and who are the tribes that are connected to it. And so we had a number of people like Bennett talk about Wallapai and Havasupai, well, not Havasupai, but Wallapai connection to the LCR. And of course, he's part Hopi from Wankopi. And so he gave a little bit of that. And then we have Bernadette from White Mountain Apache, who also talked about the connection from the mountainside. And then of course we have Dolores, who's here with us, and talked about the Escalade issue, and her connection to the LCR, and living up there on the rim. And of course another family member from the area, Franklin Martin. And then you go towards Loop area, and you have Dr. Herman Cody, and you have just the list goes on. But if you look to the top of this little screen here, you see that there's different connections all the way. Jimmy note from Zuni. So it's really, it's a really interactive website that we have within the Grand Canyon Trust, and that everybody has their little stories.
She drives all my friends crazy, so I don't throw it all the time.
Okay, and so if you look to the website here, we have everybody's connections and a little bit of talk about the confluence and Ed Caboti. And one of the things that's pretty spectacular about this website, aside from it being interactive and you can click on the different people and listen to their personal stories, is that we've turned this into a little booklet. And so that's available for distribution right now. And we hope to, you know, take the word out there a little bit further into our own communities, and for our youth and for our own community members and other tribes out there who want to know, you know, what's going on in the LCR and what are the issues out there and how do people connect to it. So, you know, this is the things that we're doing within the trust, and it wouldn't have been possible without Deidre Peaches, who's the who has turned this also into a film, which I'll be showing. And that we hope that, you know, the communication of the purpose of the highlighting the LCR will go further than we've expected. And this is part of, again, going back to the ICCG and their innovative ideas on how to educate many different people at all levels, from our own communities to you guys and beyond that, on not just the Colorado River itself, but all areas surrounding the Colorado River and the Grand Canyon, and showing that connection, that we all have a history, we have a place, and we come from this area, and that, you know, it is really a special place for us, and that we look at the threats that are surrounding the area, and how do we handle that, and not just on our own through individual tribes, but as a collection of tribal unity. Anyways, I'm gonna show a quick video, and I hope that you guys, I hope we have time. Do we have time, Emily?
Go ahead. Yeah, we should.
Now the control buttons are on my way here. Hold on. I think I sent it to you. Do you think we could play it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, it's not working on my end.
Okay.
No. The Vimeo? Yes, that one.
I think we're planning on playing this one, Sarana, at noon.
Oh, okay. Well then.
This is Deidre's, correct?
Yeah, that is Deidre's. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we'll plan on playing that at noon.
Okay, well then scratch that. So.
Well, if you're right with it, we could field questions and make it more of a discussion and dialogue for folks who might be interested in some of the aspects that you just shared, if that would be all right.
Sure. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer anything right now. And Deidre's film that's going to be showed at noontime is also going to be showed during the Flagstaff Film Festival in just coming weeks, or in the coming weeks.
That's great.
So yeah, if you guys have any questions.
Sarana, thank you.
I see the question. Yeah, the Lifeways booklet. Lynn is gonna send each of you a booklet through the, she's gonna send all of you. It's in the chat here. And then as for distribution at a broader scale, like I said, we're also, from the tribal standpoint, we're also wanting to educate our own community members and let people know that, you know, there's a huge connection here, and that so we're hoping to distribute in surrounding communities, neighboring communities, Grand Canyon National Park, and then of course you all here, and then how it goes on to the river. That's another question, and that's something that we'll probably be working more with on the, you know, on your guys's, who your supervisors are. Any other questions?
Sarana, that's great.
Okay.
Yeah, put some more questions into the chat. Come off mute. I know that you haven't before, but it would be great to bring some other voices in here as well. Oh, we have Oh, Amanda has shared also some helpful links in the chat that we can share out as resources for folks too.
Yeah, it's a really interactive story map. For us, it's a new thing. And we're using it a lot more, especially for Bears Ears and, the uranium issue that's surrounding Grand Canyon. And I think it's a really great thing. If you haven't had a chance and you want to learn about White Mesa Mill and uranium and, the things that are happening out in the world right now and how that could start up uranium production right now too, that Bears Ears information is really cool to look at, or the White Mesa information.
Sarana, there's a question in the chat. What is the current tribal request concerning stopping at the LCR and playing in the river?
Depends on which tribe you're talking about. And I would say that I think it is a concern, and that's something that we always hear. People from like Dolores, we always hear this, and civic confluences that, why are we trying to protect this place if people are being disrespectful and stopping there and doing these crazy things? Because, well, first of all, people don't know it's, how to be respectful at places. And that's what Jack was trying to talk about, is what's culturally appropriate, and how do we respect places out there. And for us, if you were to go into church, and you would have to give it the utmost respect and be quiet and be reverent and all of that. So in that aspect of looking at how to conduct yourself in church and how to be there in spirit, and just that you're there for spirituality, you're there for guidance, you're there for comfort. And so for us, looking at the canyon is the same thing. That's and so to speak, that's our church, that's our womb. For some people, for some tribes, we were born from there, we came from there. When we pass on, and we go back there. So wherever we come from and wherever we go, we got to be very, very, very respectful, because we have that connection and we have our loved ones to go back to. I hope that helps. But yeah, that shouldn't just be there at the LCR, but that should be like throughout the whole canyon. Just be very respectful.
Sarana, I really love that you bring that up in terms of like cultural respect and consideration, and it can be complicated because respect can look so many different ways. I think you brought up churches, and I think about African American or Black praise choirs that are singing and really exuding a lot of energy. Not that I speak from experience, but I know that it can look really different, and we can still enjoy, have fun, and be reverent and be really appreciative and gratitude to the places. So I think it really goes back to maybe some of the conversation of how are we uplifting the appropriate and respectful interpretation, and really sharing authentic stories that are really conveying and communicating the importance of the place, and really as purveyors of the canyon and lovers of the canyon, considering all of that when we come to that. I wonder if that adds to it as well.
Yeah, and I would like to speak to what you just said, and what Laura's asking about is that, all of us, every time I've been on the river with any one of you and others that aren't here, is that what I hear is that the reason you are on the river is because you have a connection. And I've heard everybody's connection, their story. And when I see, as a passenger, I see how well you maneuver, and you go throughout the canyon, how you're on the river, and how you're in your own little way, you are respectful. And I can see that that sense of calmness, that sense of peace. And I can see that you love the beauty of landscape and of nature, and you're very attentive to details because the river is ever changing, the canyon is ever changing, and it's unexpected. And we've had friends who have been on the river who have got injured, who have got hurt, and maybe not, that are not with us anymore. And so you have that sense of, you can feel them, and there's a sense of that peace there, and you feel you're able to grasp, the things that are bothering you outside of the canyon. And so if you look at as a church, just it's a place of spirituality, and it's where we find ourselves, and how we, I guess, how we can regroup and reset the button, so to speak, and then get back to whatever it is once we come out of the canyon. So yeah, I think we already all see it as a very respectable place, and that we know what that connection is. And it, doesn't, it's not, but it's we see that connection, we feel the connection. How do we portray that connection? We're not, you don't have to be indigenous to feel it. You already have that sense of spirituality there. I hope that answers your question, Laura.
And for the recording, the question was, is there a hope that river runners will also view the LCR as a church or a spiritual place? So Sarana, thanks for answering that. It sounds like how we as guides frame the place and experience of spending time there is important.
I agree. I mean, some people don't have the chance, and some people are fortunate enough to go down all the time. But those who don't, give that frame, give that mindset, let them feel that connection and let them absorb it. I mean, use all their senses and use everything. Have them just sit down and close your eyes and listen, be at peace. And, because that's basically what everybody, once they're there and they're there for a long time, they start to feel, first of all, they're scared because they're used to the fast-paced world and looking at their phones and the busyness and everything. But once you get past that, and then you start to see what the canyon truly is, and they start to enjoy those little things, whether it's water trickling down from the little walls, the birds flying all over the place, just the ripples of the water, the sound of the water, all those things. You guys can all imagine it right now. And that's what they need to connect back to. Once they find that connection, then the world starts to open up, and then you can point out all the things that have that historical connection to for that tribal knowledge to happen, and to say that look, there's these places here, and start having them be connected to people of history, of time. But it's never ending, because you still have those, because we as people, indigenous people, are connected still. Those are our ancestors, and let them know that those might be remnants, but there are living remnants still right now.
Thanks, Sarana.
Yeah.
We are just about at time. I wonder if, you alluded a little bit that you'll be making your departure from Grand Canyon Trust and might be doing some consulting. Is there anything that you want to say, or maybe how folks can get in touch with you and have more conversations about future collaborations?
Yeah, I'm going to put my email down, and you guys can get a hold of me. I'm pretty sure I'll still be working on these issues, because before the trust, I was working on addressing water rights, uranium, and of course working with Save the Confluence. So yeah, my passion is helping communities and letting people know what the issues are out there and the threats that are happening. So, and I really, I was thinking about this too, like, I'm not going anywhere, and I've been telling everybody I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be here, and I'm still going to be guiding. I'm still going to be giving guidance out there on cultural and environmental issues. So yeah, so I'll put my email down.
That's great. Sarana, we want to thank you so much, and just really uplift the words that you shared with us, and the words that we heard from Ophelia during the superintendent's talk, and to recognize whose land it is, whose places of respect and how respect looks for those people are very important. So Sarana, thank you very much for joining us today, and we'll hopefully continue to engage with you throughout the V-GTS. And we definitely have some things going on in the chat as well, so we'll encourage you to check that out. So Jack, who just shared with us, said, depending on the Grand Canyon tribe you asked, the confluence of Colorado River And Little Colorado River can be thought of by non-Indigenous peoples as the sacred foundation, analogous or similar to what is the Vatican is or represents to the Catholic Church. So thanks for that helpful analogy and understanding of it, Jack. Sarana, to your words, thank you very, very much. And we are about to go on to another break. So